Hello fellow Hearts of the Blue, and welcome to another live stream. As I promised yesterday, we are going to do live streams for 3 days consecutive during this weekend. And in this one, don't be afraid, I'm not going to paint this with speed paints. I was talking about yesterday about painting this guy during live streams, and I'm going to do so, but the idea was to start today. But I realized this is way too big for me to have any wheel to base coat this with a brush. So I'm going to take this to my workshop and I'm going to prime it and I'm going to base coat it with the airbrush, all metallic. This is the arms are detachable, if you don't know this kit. And I will prime everything with the airbrush, including and base coating, including all the panels and stuff like that. I have everything ready. I'm going to take this apart. But for today, I thought, since I never have time to really lot of pieces, since I don't really never have time to do these kinds of experiments on my own, because I'm always recording some tutorial or another, I thought we could test again speed paints. I made a review about them a while ago. You may have seen it, which wasn't really that positive, at least not for me, not for my way of doing things. Oh, by the way, before we move on too much, I moved from Streamlabs to OBS proper, the real deal. And so if anything seems wrong, if the sound doesn't come well, or if something looks off, please let me know, because this is a new program that I'm using to do all this live streaming. So yeah, if something sounds awful or you can't see anything or whatever thing happens, just let me know and I will deal with it as best as I can. But for now, I think everything is working fine. And as I was saying, my review of the speed paints wasn't really that good. It wasn't bad. They do what they say on the box. That's pretty much all they do. But since then, I've seen especially one painter which goes by the name of Burnodite or Burnodit or whatever that is pronounced on Instagram. I will leave his name on the chat. Wait for a second, please. Whoops. If you follow him on Instagram, he has been painting using speed paint as base and then wet blending colors on top. So that wasn't a great idea. His name is Keith Burden, if I'm not mistaken, and he's a way better painter than I am. But maybe I can do something similar. I can figure out a way to use the reactivation issue, which to me it's an issue, but maybe I can turn the issue into a property, into a feature. So for that matter, I have my speed paints here. There you go. There you go. I haven't even taken. I just put them again into the box and not really do anything. I'm going to take a couple of them, Highlight Blue for the Space Marine, because it's hilarious. This is Blood Red. Maybe Blood Red. I think they have another red. Let me just look for it. Slaughter Red. Maybe I will do a Slaughter Red. Seems like a cooler hue. Maybe a mix of both. Let me just see what we can do there. I will start with those first and then see if I need more speed painting goodness. So seems like everything works, it's fine in the chat. People showing up. Hello everyone, nice to meet you. Have MacLeod54, Ian Stubbington, Tom Motototom, MBP, and Pessler the polychromatic. So that's awesome. Let me just, I have this Space Marine and I have this Squiggy Boy. We're going to, basically the same minis that I use for the testing for the review. I'm just going to try and apply a layer and see if I can wet blend the highlights on top of them. We will see. Just take out my wet palette. How does this look? I don't have that much space. I'm just going to set up a new palette. Sorry about that. But it's not going to take too much. I'm going to use one of the old papers just because I don't care that much about this demonstration. And I don't want to use one of the nice new papers, which are way better than this one. But I don't want to waste them on a test. There we go. Need to add a bit more water here. It's a bit dry up. There you go. That should do the trick. Oh yeah, much better. The sponge is already absorbing all the extra moisture. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Testing and experimenting a known working theory, because that person has managed to use them pretty well. And I want to see if I can replicate his findings. So, or if I can find a way of doing it by myself with my own methods, essentially. Why don't we start base coating the Space Marine here? There you go, I have an old brush. This is an out of rotation Rosemary, poor guy. Been using this brush for a long time and it's just kicked the bucket now. So we're going to use it to base coat with the speed paints. Again, this is High Lord Blue. I'm not going to care too much about the rest. Just going to apply this as I would any other speed painting paint or contrasty paint, whatever you want to call them. I'm not going to be very careful, and I don't really mind if I don't do the most perfect job here. Okay, let's go back and absorb any excess. Yeah, I'm using blue paint because I think it's hilarious. So anytime I have to do any demos or any testing, I think it's funnier if I use blue. I think this is good enough. Oh, that is looking way too... Let's see if I can make... Yeah, that looks better now. I think my camera was a bit overexposing everything a little bit more than what I want. BB asked, Redemption, what was wrong with speed paints besides the reactivation? Well, that is what's happened with them, the reactivation issue. I don't like it. That's why I don't use them. They're still in the box. Because for me, that is a big problem. And not only for me, but for a lot of people also, which we like to layer paints on top of paint and don't have to varnish in every step because that's a pain in the ass. So let's see if I can take advantage of the reactivation to make them more suitable for let's just say this, pro painters. Although I don't really like that word very much, but you know. Seems like that is good. So with the Space Marine, there's a coat of highlight blue there. Let's paint this squeak boy. Yeah, Mr. Man Lighting says, I got some speed paints about a week ago and used them in place of contrast paints for a few of your tutorials I followed. As long as I use a matte varnish afterwards, they are good proxies. Yeah, but that's some people don't mind the varnishing in between, but others do. So I just want to see if we can take advantage of the reactivation for our own benefits and purposes. That's at least the idea here. This is Slaughter Red. Whoop. And we're going to paint the squeak boy with this paint. Yeah. We will leave this to fully dry, both paints, the blue and the red. And then we will see if we can add some highlights on top of this. And blend and wet blend them basically into the existing speed paints. Sort of a oil-like application here. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to find out, if I can use them as if there were oils. In a way. They do apply very nicely, I will have to say that. Some bubbles, but if you gently just blow over the surface, they will just pop. There you go, that's Slaughter Red applied. And we now have to wait till this dries fully before we get on with the highlight. So I'm going to jump into the chat for a little bit while this fully dries and we can start messing about and testing it. I will pop up my squeak boy from the handle here. There you go. Oops. Well, seems like it's not too much. Since we started with the Space Marine, I'm guessing this will be dried first. So this takes quite a while to dry. Even more if you want like them to cure, but we don't really care about that, so that's not an issue. Howard Houtbill says, so something that they don't reactivate if you use other speed paints or the medium. Nah, that is bullshit. Sorry about that. The first time I noticed that the reactivation was while painting this squeak for my demo, for the review, and I noticed straight away that applying one speed paint over other was making the other disappear basically, or blend into the one layer on top of that. So yeah, that doesn't work. I'm Mr. Man Lighting. I'm curious to see how you can make the user of the reactivation. You have a great grasp on how paints and colors work. We will see. As I said, this is not my idea. I've seen a painter using it, and I want to try to replicate what he does. He's Keith Burden. You can find him on Instagram by Burno Diet, if I'm not mistaken. But if you search for Keith Burden, you will find him. So I want to see if I can replicate his results, essentially. I believe two YouTubers found out that it was water that causes the most significant reactivation. By using contrast or the medium, you can drastically reduce activation issues. That could be the case, that could be the case, but I've seen cases of people applying varnish which has no water in it, just straight out varnish, even with the airbrush, and if it pulls a little bit, it will just destroy your whole paint job. So I'm not sure that works really well, but we can test out. We can take a little bit of medium, speed paint medium, which I have also, and we can put on top of some of the mini. Let me just paint this leg blue as well, just to see later on if we can use that trick and if it works better than water. So that is a, in my experience, it doesn't work, but I'm all for experimenting and testing stuff for myself. I studied engineering after all, and I consider myself a man of science. So I'm going to test it and see if that makes any sense. Oh, Perfect says, congratulations on your new baby. Thank you very much. Paul, that's a link for Keith. I'm guessing you are asking for the link for Keith Burden. I will just, while that dries, I will search it on Instagram and I will post it. I hope you can hear me. It's a very uncomfortable. Oh, it's border night. Sorry about that. Okay, copy and paste. This is the link. Oops. Okay, that's the link to the painter that managed to do it. Yeah, I call myself a man of science. I studied engineering, so if someone says something happened, I will try and test it myself before I say it's bullshit. Although I did say it's bullshit because it makes no sense, but we will see. We will see. Oh, probably it got blocked. Probably there, Paul. So I just posted the link myself. Probably I do have links restricted in the chat just because we have so many bots appearing. So yeah. Yeah, he's a fantastically good painter. So yeah. Besler the Polychromatic said, I experimented with a few brush on varnishes. All of them have bled issues with speed paints. I had to use spray varnish in order to not have any issues. Yeah, that's why I say it doesn't make any sense to use the medium so it doesn't reactivate. But we are going to test that out anyway, because why not? We are here, and this is all about speed paints and seeing if we can take advantage or use them in any way, shape or form. We have Juan Ignacio Guerraskin. I'm about to buy an airbrush between the Pash Talon or the Badger Chrome. Do you have any recommendations? I have an Iwata Eclipse, so I don't know anything about outside that airbrush. Is the only one I have. I got that airbrush by recommendation of one of the most amazing airbrush artists I've ever seen. He recommended that I use the Iwata because that's what he uses and what most of the airbrush artists in the world uses. So that's the only thing I know. Yeah, I use an Iwata Eclipse. That's all I can say. I'm sure that there will be someone in the chat with more experience than me with airbrushes that will help you out. Colorful Soldiers, hello Juan, welcome back to YouTube. You have been missed. Congrats on the new addition to your family. Thank you very much. I've missed very, very much making videos, so this is very exciting for me. Getting back again. So why don't we add some highlights? And I'm going to use Fenrisian Grey for my highlights on the blue, and I'm going to test several methods here. I know how Keith does it, which is glazing, but I want to see if I can do a more oil paint-like approach here. So applying it a bit thicker and then just feathering it into the underlying color. I'm going to start maybe here. Just there. So the issue is, it does blend a little bit into the color underneath, but it's also lifting away from the base coat. So that's a bit of an issue. Okay. Let me just try to glaze this. Yeah, I can see the color changing to a bit more blue, so I can see the point, because this is not yeah, this is definitely changing color when I apply it. It's picking up some of the colors underneath for sure. You see here, I hope you can see, let me just zoom in a little bit. You can see that, yeah, I could manage a wet blend, but I'm also lifting up the paint on the rest of the model, so that's a bit of an issue. But yeah, you can see when I apply a glaze, it's blending essentially with the color underneath. So if you use a softer color, you can get away with harsher transitions essentially of glazes instead of having to be so precise. But yeah, the issue is if you dab too much on the underlying paint, it still lifts off a lot. Like, look at that, it just brushing it's just lifting off, which is a big problem. Just mix a little bit of the blue into here to see if I can at least tone this down and get some result. It's just lifting off everywhere where I touch it. This is not as easy as he makes it appear, at least. Yeah. Either that or he is a much better painter than I am. Yeah, so yeah, when you glaze it like here, you can clearly see that the glazes are basically bleeding. When you glaze over them very carefully, the glaze on top bleeds the blue paint and it turns into a softer transition. So that's good, but you cannot use it as oil paint, because if you do, the paint just lifts where your brush is. If you try to wet blend it, it just bleeds everywhere and it's a mess. And if you try to cover it, as I did here, it's not a good look. So yeah, I think glazing can be the only solution, really. Let me just see if I can glaze a highlight here. I can see the Fenrisian Grey turning bluer when I apply this, but it's very hard to control. Very, very difficult to control. And if you touch too much, it will destroy the underlaying paint, so you have to be extremely careful here. Maybe if you apply a blue base coat, like a light blue, and then you do the highlight blue on top, and then you use a even lighter blue to apply the highlights, then you can maybe get away with it, because when you rub it, it's not going to show too much. Sorry about the sounds, but we just had a baby, so welcome to my life now. I'm really happy, but that's exactly how it sounds every single day. Oh, the chat is going quite fast, so I just can't follow it. But I will do a scan later on. Yeah, I can see how glazing can work, but it's not easy. Oh, it's just lifting away. Even the, oh my god, so difficult. Just see if I can use a little bit more highlight blue to hide this ugly transition. Definitely not the easiest way of painting. Okay. So you really have to do very thin glazes, otherwise the transition is still going to show. And at that point, yeah, it makes the glazing easier because it's mixing, so you will get a super smooth transition. But you have to be so careful that I don't know if it's worth it. You maybe will have to base coat this with a blue for it to work as intended. Okay, so JM says that the reactivation is with the dye, and if you use the medium, it won't reactivate. So why don't we test that out? So this is the medium. This is the speed paint medium. I'm just mixing it really, really well so it's not complaints. Just place it on here, and we will see if we get any reactivation with the medium. And whoop, yes you do. You do get reactivation with the medium, as you can see. So yeah, it still reactivates, maybe less than with water. Let's just try water on the brush. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. So you will probably have to dry this for quite a longer time for that to work. But again, I'm just going to dry my brush as much as possible here. I'm just so this is as dry a brush as I can have without it being dry, because you shouldn't use ever a dry brush to pick up paint. This is pure medium, and I'm going to apply it here, which I haven't touched it. And yeah, I can see the paint lifting away. There you go, you can see that. So yeah, it does reactivate when you use medium on top of the dried paint. So as I thought, it was BS. It's probably softer and less aggressive than if you use water. I will admit that. Let me just use water. So yeah, so yeah, the main difference I found is the reactivation with medium is much softer and more controlled than if you use water. Water is more aggressive. You can see jagged edges around where I apply it. So we can maybe use the medium to highlight it. Just let it dry and wet blend with the medium. Let's see if that works. That's a good idea. Let's apply in this nice rounded shape, which is the most difficult one. So that would be a good test. So yeah, what Keith does is glazing, and as I said, yes, glazing do work, but I do recommend, what I would do personally is apply a layer of a normal paint, and then apply the speed paint, and then wet blend them that is a similar hue, and use that to hide the transitions of the glazes. That can work very well. I wouldn't use it, I mean, otherwise it's really difficult, but I think we can use the medium to highlight this, if you don't mind. So it could be a good idea to basically base coat the model with highlight color, apply the speed paint, and then apply the highlights by removing paint using the medium. That can be a good idea. So we are going to test that once this dries on the blue there, but I'm going to do the same on the red here. And said, if you use the speed paint medium plus citadel paints, the paint won't reactivate. It will, trust me. It just will. This is not magic. This is not magic. This is just a medium. And if the medium alone reactivates the paint, if you mix it with paint, it will still reactivate the paint. Maybe less, but it will reactivate them. I know that because I think the issue is the dye that they use is so loosely bonded to the surface, because they went for a smoother look, but that has its cost essentially. So you can't get such smooth look without the dye not being solidly attached to the surface underneath. And whatever you put on top is going to reactivate it. Maybe less. This does give a better effect, and we're going to test it now. But yeah. I feel that even a matte finish will make it lift. Yes, if you apply it with a brush, it will lift. And I've seen cases of people applying it with an airbrush, and if you don't go super thin and it pulls a little bit, it's going to reactivate and cause a mess. So yeah, it is a big problem. That's what I made that video. So I have medium on my brush here. I think we need a little bit more light for this. For some reason my camera doesn't pick the red as intensely. There you go. That should be a bit better, a bit more light. There you go. Okay. Fidel is asking, have you tried the tipping inks by Green Stuff Wall? They look awesome. No, what looks awesome is the 3D renders that they put as the result. That's not how they look. That's just a 3D render with a color applied that is supposedly like the ink. I don't know if they will look, but once a company starts promoting a product using 3D renders instead of real painted things, I have my doubts about them. Also, I won't buy anything from Green Stuff Wall if I can avoid it, because I hate how they are as a company. Sorry about that. If you have any connection with Green Stuff World in any way, I hate how they are as a company, so I will avoid to buy anything that they produce. So I have a speed painting medium on my brush. I'm going to basically try to highlight this with the speed painting medium. Yes, paint is lifting softer than if I use water, probably. No, not really. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, very hard to control it in a good way. It was smoother with the blue, so this will change from color to color. That's another issue. Let me just... The shoulder part on the marine is already dry. Yeah, as JM says, green stuff dipping ink uses rendered colors on the side, not reflecting reality. Same thing with the promo video. Those colors were shifted and not what looks in real. Sad. So yeah, if a company needs to do that to promote a product or sell it, that means the product's shit. Because if it weren't shit, it will showcase the real deal. So we have the medium here. And again, you see the issue is, yes, I can lift, this is just medium by the way, and I can lift paint off, but it leaves such a messy result that I don't think. Well, ML says, they say speed paints was created for one coat and then you're done. That's what they say now, but when they were promoting them, they were promoted heavily as contrast paints alternatives, and they aren't, because there is things you can do with contrast paints that you cannot do with speed paints, and that's a big issue for me. Let me just see if you can have this. Yeah, I think you are zooming. Sorry about that. I need to see if you were zooming, if you were focused well. So that's an issue. This is just medium, and I thought I could control it better, but it's just a mess. It creates for a very uneven reactivation, and that's a big problem. But again, different colors reactivate differently. They have different rates of reactivation, and so that's a big issue as well, because not every color behaves the same way. Let me just grab an orange and see if we can highlight this with the orange. Seemingly that it seems that this red is a bit more resilient, so maybe we can use, this is Amaranth Orange from AK Interactive, by the way. Let me just put this here and see if I can blend it. Maybe a bit more. So maybe some of the colors, this can work better than others, but for sure not that blue. At least not straight out, like leaving it to dry to the touch and then do this. But maybe other more resilient colors like this red, this was a Slaughter Red, will behave better, and you can wet blend them on the surface better because the dye is stronger. Yeah, that looks good. I'm liking that. That was easy. Well, Etienne Malat asking how I'm finding those speed paints. Inconsistent. That's how I'm finding them. The blue is a mess. It reactivates way too much. You will probably need a blue base coat before you apply the paint and then try to blend it. This red, much better, much smoother. I can basically apply the orange and then feather it out quite well. I'm not sure if this is all to do with the speed paints or with the AK paints. Could be something good to say about AK paints here, that they feather out really, really well. So that's a thing. But the red is stronger on the model, so it's not lifting as much. It's lifting a little bit. Maybe lifting enough that it blends with the orange and creates a very smooth feathered out highlight. So that's nice. Hugh Woodford said that's borderline false advertising, talking about the green stuff walls deepening. Yeah, it is false advertising. they are a shitty company. So they are a shitty company in any way imaginable. They are the shittiest company I've ever found. From stealing creations from their inventors, trademarking them, or filing a patent on Spain for them, and basically stealing that creation from the person that created it, to that kind of false advertising and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty shitty company. If you can avoid buying from them, do it. They are the worst. Yeah, issue with the medium removing the paint now is that it's dark around the edges. Yeah, it's. I mean, this was with the medium. This was also with the medium, and it's smoother. But this was with the medium, and it's blotchier. So the problem is it's a lottery. So I know people that uses the reactivation for this was glazing over the speed paints, and it produces a very nice gradient. Probably easier than just straight. It was a massive jump over the blue, so it was nice, but it's not fast. That's the issue. I mean, if you're going to go through the trouble with dealing with the reactivation, you have to be so careful with these glazes, because if you are too aggressive, you're going to leave the paint straight away. So that's a problem. Let me just see if we can mix this with the medium. Let me see if I can make a glaze. Let me just put this here. I'm going to try to make glaze with the speed painting medium. And see if that holds better. So I'm just mixing speed painting medium with Fenrisian grey. I'm going to turn this into a glaze consistency and try to do a glaze, for example, towards this corner here. So yeah, that's probably a good idea. We'll have to leave this to dry. I'm going to do another one towards this corner here. I can still feel it, the paint underneath, shifting a bit, but you can see that it's created like kind of a lighter spot, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it is lifting and mixing with the Fenrisian. The problem is it's also going into the brush, which creates, takes away paint from the surface. Yeah, that works better. Okay, that is nice. Remember, this live stream is about experiment, but if you overdo it like I did there, you're lifting paint and creating like a bald patch of paint. It's just a mess. Problem is, it's inconsistent. This red, for example, really good. You can see that I can blend the orange really well. Although I'm not sure if it's the orange or the red that is doing the heavy lifting. These AK paints are really good. Let me just try it with another brand. So this is basically the equivalent to that AK paint. This is Wild Rider Red. Hey, Angel is here. Hello, mate. How are you? It's always good to see Angel. Nicest person in the world. So, why don't we try this with the Wild Rider Red? This is also a smaller jump from color. Yeah, it still blends quite well. So yeah, I can feel it blending with the red underneath. So yes, you can do it. You can, but it depends on the color. This blue, you can't. This is way too fragile. you basically need one of the strongest holding speed paints, something like Slaughter Red. This holds pretty well, better than the blue, and it's just at the point where you can wet blend it and create a super fast highlight there. Yeah, I'm using a wet palette. Maybe, but there will be still water mixing a little bit with the medium in the brush, because my brush won't be strictly dry, because I never, and you never should put dry. Okay, let me just do one thing. One of my shitty brushes. Okay, this is an old brush as well, and I just instinctively put it into the water. Okay, what brush can I use for this? Okay, this is a brush that I don't like very much. It's a Zero from Rosemary. It's very old. This is a dry palette, so no confounding variables there. So no one can say that I didn't try the best. And this is a spin paint medium. And I'm going to use the Space Marine because that's what we've been using. I'm going to do it, in this spot here, which is untouched. This is a dry brush, no water whatsoever inside it, and see if it reactivates. And yes, you can see that it does. As I said, less so than with water, or a bit less aggressively, but it still does reactivate. Yeah, this had zero water, and on top of that you have the issue of dealing with a medium on top of paint, which is a bit thick. So I don't know if I would like that either way, but that was absolutely spotless before I touched the medium. So yeah, that's gone. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, there you go. I want to try and make a harsher jump. So I believe the suggestion you put speed paint down in the base with no water. I did that in my review, and they reactivated the same. So, but they say that. But it's always going to be water in the brush, because there is no way I put this runny paint into any brush without water in the brush. So you're already mixing water because the brush should be moist anyway. So that's a bit uncohesively, but it still reactivates. Okay, so Thamo has come back on. He was here yesterday, and he said quite strong words for Green Stuff World. Yeah, they are a shady company, and as someone else he already stated, they strike sword and steal YouTube videos. But come on, they are very shady, and I don't like shady people. That's basically it. There are very companies. The issue is they basically sell everything, and my main concern with them is not that they striked a YouTuber. I don't care about that. I don't give a fuck about that. The problem is they steal from other inventors. They patent their inventions in Spain, and then they take the inventor out of the market with a lawsuit. That they've done that several times. And yeah, that's well documented, and they are a shitty company. So I want to do a harsher jump here on the red, see if I can mix it better. So probably I can see the yellow mixing into the red to create a sort of a pink. Yeah, that can probably work. You see here in the tail it has no medium applied over it. I'm going to apply a good layer of this. Also, as I said about their dipping inks, they are not even showcasing the real deal. They're just rendered images. Okay, that's nice. Again, not sure if it has to do with the speed paints or with AK paints. But there surely is a smooth, feathered out transition there, which is nice. I'm going to apply another layer there. And I can see the red seeping into the yellow, so that's nice. Yeah, I can see how you could use this with some of the colors. Okay, that's interesting. Thamos says about Army Painter's speed paint reactivation. I heard someone saying it reactivated due to the thixotropic added to the formula, reacting to water. So thin regular paints with speed paint medium sharp prevent bleeding reactivation. It doesn't. I tried that. It still reactivates. Sorry about that. It reactivates. Most definitely reactivates still. I've demonstrated as well as I can. One more test. I tested it without anything and it still reactivates. Because other speed paints make them reactivate as well. So that makes no sense. And I'm going to demonstrate it using a red. So this is blood red. The issue is not that chemical compound or that thing or other. The issue is they didn't add enough bonding agents into the paint because they wanted a smooth surface final result as possible and less coffee staining as possible, but that has a price. So this is the red, and I can demonstrate to you, I'm going to dry my brush as much as possible, that this still reactivates. Look at that. You can see it mixing into a sort of a purple and lifting the blue, and that's just blood red speed paint. It's not, that's bullshit. There you go. That's a final demonstration about that. This blue is one of the worst offenders. I will admit that. There are others that are better. But the blue, this dye here is so fragile that it just lifts off. Whatever you do with the paint, it just lifts off. But yeah, you can, with some of the colors like this red, you can create, like starting from this yellow, which is really, really, really massive jump. You can create a nice soft gradient just with some wet blending. So making sort of a list of colors you can use for this technique, it can work. It can most definitely work if you are careful. But again, I'm not sure if it's to do with the speed paint or with how good the AK paints are, which are pretty good. So see if I can blend this a little bit. Yeah. It still lifts off if you brush it very hardly with a lot of water like there. So you will have to be extremely careful with this. And I don't know at which point that is, you know, that makes any sense. I really want to, I mean, I love Army Painter as a company. They are the nicest people in the world. I've talked with Adam, which was the person that sent me the speed paints and sent me the whole range actually for me to try out. And they are the nicest company. In contrast with Green Stuff World, Army Painter is such a nice company, full of nice people. They always try to make things better, and they acknowledge their mistakes, and they are communicative with the audience, and with they were amazing with when I posted the video, commenting themselves on the video, making things clear, saying yes, we knew about this, but we didn't thought it was such a big issue. Primer makes difference. weather makes a difference. So yeah, there's a lot of factors to play here, but yeah. What happens with Green Stuff World? Well, they've done a lot of shitty things. That's basically all I'm going to say. I'm tired of talking about Green Stuff World. Yeah, not a fan of speed paints, the one you're using. Like, yeah, I mean, if you're just going, I will reiterate myself and move into other stuff because I tried, and yes, you can do some things with them. You can wet blend them certain colors, certain like slaughter red, which holds pretty well to the base. If you are very careful, you can most definitely use this as a base and then wet blend the highlights on top, but it's a very delicate process, and if you mess up, you're going to leave the paint underneath and it's going to create such a mess. So I wanted to like the speed paints when they were announced. When they sent them to me, I was very excited, and this just turned into a bit of a mess. And I know people have used them like I did here with glazing on top of the speed paint very carefully, but at that point, if you know how to glaze like this, you know how to glaze without the reactivation helping you. So that's my point. If you can glaze over the speed paints smoothly, you can just glaze as well without then reactivating and creating that little bit of help. You can probably do a higher jump in terms of color. You can get away with highlighting or glazing like 2 steps or 3 steps over what you would do normally, but you still require quite a bit of practice, and the rest of the model is so fragile that it can get into a mess quite quickly. Does mixing with contrast medium give it a stronger bond? Probably. Shall we try that? Let's just try that. That's a good question, Ben Soini is asking. By the way, if you don't know who Ben Soini is, an amazing painter as well. Glad to see you here, mate. Let's just mix the blue, which is the biggest offender, with some good old contrast medium and see if it bonds better to the surface. You're probably going to lose some of the nice properties of the smoothness of the speed paint, but let's just do 1, 2, 3 drops of blue. Let's put that there so you can see it. Mr. Jingle says speed paints are just 2 drops. Well, doesn't really matter. I'm going to do 1 more drop of blue so we have a stronger blue. There you go. So this is now 4 parts to 2 parts. So it's a 50% addition of contrast medium into the speed paint. I'm going to use my sheet brush for this. Mixing it well so it's fully integrated and applying it onto this leg, for example. So obviously we'll have a lighter color, and immediately you can tell it behaves more like contrast paints, because I can. It's been such a long time painting with contrast paints that I can tell the feel of them just by applying a layer. This feels more like contrast paints, that I actually prefer how they apply. The other ones smooth out over the surface better, but this applies better to me. Like just the application itself. So this has a 50% of contrast medium added to the paint. Let's see if this dries and holds better. Nice question there, Ben. Great question, actually. Let's leave this here to dry. Let me get through the comments and see if I can jump into the chat a little bit more. And after that test, if they lift off, I will just let that paint just for 1 coat applications and move on and never talk about them again, because I don't feel like it's worth my time anymore at that point. Manuel Gonzaga. Hope you can hear me while I put my mic closer to my face. Anyone experienced with the scale of 75 instant colors? I feel like they are hardly talked about. Yes, that's because they are not very good as contrast paints. They are. The color selection is not very good. Instead of going for transparent dyes, they went for solid acrylics thinned down with their medium. Solid acrylic pigments, opaque pigments. So that makes no sense to me, but you know. Well, Citadel has done something similar with a new range, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. There are some colors in the new contrast range. Sorry, I have to move my mic back. But apart from that, if you watch their videos, they just very thin glazes of paints, and they don't produce nearly as nice an effect as the other paints. I haven't used them. I'm just going by what I see in the videos and the reviews by others. Personally, not a big fan, but they can work, I guess. Any paint reviews knock it out of the park. Sadly, their product isn't among the top tier, but hey, AK acrylics are now third generation. So, the thing with Army Painter, yes, the normal acrylic paints, not very good. I said this yesterday, the airbrush range, one of the best in the market. One of the best airbrush ready paints in the market, and I'm not joking, they are so good. I did this. Let me just grab a mini. So this was done with their white, which is a notoriously difficult color to do stuff. This is their white, straight out of the bottle, through the airbrush over black. Look at how smooth that is. That's fantastic. Come on. You have to give them credit. Again, the normal paints, not very good. Airbrush paints, so good. So yeah, give them a try. They are, honestly speaking, one of the best airbrush ready paints I've ever used. Even for brush painting, I have them only in my workshop where I have my airbrush, and I've used them to paint stuff like normal paints. They are better than the normal acrylic range. I mean, honestly, at this point, I really honestly think Army Painter should just bin the normal range and just sell the airbrush paints as their paints, like dual purpose paints. Like, this is the new range of paints, and they can be used in airbrush and they can be used by brush, and they work as well, and they do work very well. They are very good paints. I just joined to the stream. What did I miss? Well, you missed me trying to use the reactivation of the speed paints to no avail. I tested the theory that using the speed paint medium over speed paints doesn't reactivate them. It does. Or mixing the speed paint to paints doesn't reactivate them. It does. And I failed to. And now what I did is mix a contrast medium into the speed paints. It's still drying, as you can see in this leg, and we're going to see if this reactivates once it's fully dry. Let's give it a good chance there. Oh, I'm excited for this experiment. It should be great if it's the solution for this problem. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Congrats, kudos to Ben for noticing that. For asking that question. That was a good question. Howard Hatbill, any recommendation on gold paint? The info on silver was really helpful. Yes. Honestly, my favorite gold paint, the one I use when I want to paint something gold for myself. Let's see if I can find it. That would be another, because my rack of paints is a mess. Well, calling it a rack might be a little bit of a stretch. It's just an IKEA cutlery tray for the kitchens and stuff like that. Retributor Armor. I love it. It's really good. If you highlight this, mixing it with this, it's a fantastic choice. I mean, this is really good paint. It's one of the best golds I've ever used. if you don't like this super goldy gold, like yellow look, then you can mix this with a little bit of the metal colored gold. Mix this with this, and you get a more desaturated gold, and you just highlight mixing silver into that. Job done. Honestly, the Citadel colored metallics, like the coppers and the brasses and the, oh, I love this. What is it? I saw it before. This is really good. Ruler brass, fantastic paint. Canoptic alloy, fantastic paint. I also have the Scale 75 metallics. The problem is Retributor armor. I just put it again in the tray and I can't find it again. Retributor armor covers really, really well, and the Scale 75 golds don't. So that's a big issue for me. So I have to do 4 layers of the gold to have a good gold base coat. I'm just going to give up. I just don't give a shit. I just can't give any more crap about something I have to do 4 layers to get, when I can get a equally good looking gold that just goes in 2. And 2 sometimes is a stretch. Retributor armor is fantastic. Oh, another question about green stuff wall deepenings. Well, when they showcase the product and not a 3D render in their publicity, then I could give you an opinion. But since I'm going to go, I've already answered this, but since their pictures that are showcasing the product are false advertising, because it's not a real product but a 3D render, then if a company has to resort to 3D renders to promote paint instead of showing you how the paint looks on the model, yeah, that usually means the product is shit. So I don't know how they are, because I haven't tested them, and I haven't seen any pictures of how that looks on real on a model. I've seen the videos and they're quite bad, and the images they showcase in the webpage are just 3D renders. So yeah, talking about goals, Aspermi says Retributor armor is not the most realistic gold, but covers great and is very saturated. Great choice for more fantasy playstyles. Oh, Stali, that had tested the green stuff wall deepening, says they are pretty decent and don't reactivate. They feel like the most contrast copies yet. I did a video on them. So go check a video on Stali's The Tale of Painters channel. That's what you have to do. Go and check it out if you want to see deepening inks like in the real world use. And I trust Stali fully. So if Stali says they are decent, that means they are decent. But I just don't like the company. So I have other issues apart from the product itself. My issues with the company don't really have to do with the product, but with how shitty the company is as a general rule of thumb. So I still not going to buy from them. So that's one thing ever, because I don't like them, and that's the only way I can vote or I can showcase my opinions is voting with my wallet in this capitalistic world. So I will do so. Yeah, Brandon Payne said Tale of Painters, which is, we have him here, just above you. Did review them, then they were not accurate. So yeah, not accurate with the images on the webpage. I can assure you they aren't. I wish there's going to be very exciting news about the speed paints, contrast type paints very soon. But that's all I can say. I can't really show anything or talk about that anymore because I will get into trouble. But stay tuned, because there are going to be good news about that. Oh, I missed that question. Do Do you rate Lead Belcher well, or do you have other you prefer? I like Lead Belcher, it's a good paint, but I prefer Vallejo Metal Color Dark Aluminium. Dark Aluminium is the exact same color as Lead Belcher, but just better. So, sorry, my throat is a bit dry. So yeah, Lead Belcher, good color, good. It is a good paint, but the problem is, it's competing with Dark Aluminium from Metal Color, and it's just the best dark steel metallic ever made. So yeah, it's a good color, but has very tough competition. Which is your favorite white off-white paint, or top two? That's a good question, Yin XS. Oh, you see, let me just ban this crap. Okay, that will probably get that sorted out. We had a bot promoting an adult dating site. Go fuck yourself. Okay, fucking bot. Okay, this is oh, let's talk about the off-white. So white is I mean, I've heard people saying this white is the best, this white is the best, this white is the best. I've tried almost all whites except for the I can't remember the one with the screw top that just screw the American brand. I can't really remember the name. I haven't been able to try those, but I've tried the rest of them, and honestly, all whites are pretty much the same. My favorite white ever, up to well, it still is my favorite white, is ceramide white. The problem is it's no longer being produced. Citadel dropped it from the line. That was a very, very sad moment. The white that I use now, when I need a pure white and I don't want to waste my very little remaining of ceramide white, is a Chimera white, or any white ink. I have several white inks, including Liquitex and Daler-Rowney, so one of those white inks I also use, and I also use heavy body acrylic white. In particular, I'm using a Schmink Titanium heavy body acrylic white. Those are the whites that I use. As of off-whites, I really like Citadel ones. I know people don't, but I do. And Vallejo ones are also really, really, really good. And for my limited testing with AK white off-whites, they are also really, really good. So yeah, those basically, yeah, that works. Thamo, and speaking of shady practices, yeah, the dating site just joined this side, yeah. Ascalonis, hey Juan, I wanted to switch to Vallejo Metal Core. Do you know the equivalent of GW Iron Hand Steel? Probably Duraluminium. Duraluminium is the one that you're looking for. That one will be my go-to. It's the next step. You have dark aluminium. Duraluminium is the next in terms of light, and then you have silver, and then you have white aluminium. So there's also chrome, and there's so many silvers. So I will probably go with Duraluminium. It's a nice substitute. Really? Dude, they are insisting. Let me just try to take... Dude, they're such a pest. Gunmetal, no, gunmetal is darker. Gunmetal is similar to Iron Warriors. At least the gunmetal that I have. Maybe have another gunmetal. If you're talking about the metal color gunmetal, it's pretty dark. Let me just see if I have it. I'm not sure if I have it. Yeah, gunmetal gray, pretty dark. You can let's see. You can see it here. It's a dark color. It's a dark color. It's pretty damn dark. You can see the rest of paints there. It's pretty dark. But that's the metal color one, so that may be different from yours. Yeah, I think it's time to do the test, and I will review. I found ceramide white yellows a lot over time. Oh, that's interesting. I like model color white for base coat and dry brushing, and pro acrylic. That's the one I was searching for the edge highlights. Well, that's interesting because I don't like the model color white. Maybe it's maybe because I have a very old dropper. I have a very old one of these, so that may be the cause. But I rate this stuff really high. But again, very difficult because, well, this is hard to find out, hard to get. So that can be an issue. Yeah, I also heard good things about Proacryl White, so I'm excited to try it, but haven't been able to. So, oh my god. Really? Dude, that's ridiculous. Is Synapse Creek, is normal that the Vallejo metal color range is too thin for using with a brush? No, they are perfectly usable with a brush. I don't have any issues. They are thin. You have to be careful, but you can use them with a brush, no problem. Make a ledge. I once got a pot of Corax White with no chunks whatsoever. I don't know what I did to deserve that, but the paints God smiled upon me that day. You can recoup very chunky Corax White with a vortex mixer and some steel agitators. Okay, I think it's time to test out the reactivation with the contrast medium added. Let's see. Oh boy, look at that. A little bit on the edge, but that could be because of the rubbing. Yep. Oh yeah, look at that. Dude, this is like madness. The bot chat. The damn things. Okay, so yeah. No reactivation, look at that. You add a bit of good medium into it and it doesn't reactivate anymore. Look at that. What a difference. Yeah, still on the edges if you rub too hard, but that can also happen with contrast paints, honestly. I can see the tiniest bit of reactivation, the tiniest bit, but nothing like it was before. Nothing. Look at that difference. So yeah. Who knew? This solves the problem of reactivation. If you just add a little bit of contrast medium into them, like this was 50%, so 2 to 1. It was 2 parts high-load blue, which is one of the worst offenders, mixed with 1 part contrast medium. That made for a nice... Oh my god, I can't believe it. This is ridiculous. Okay. The bots are getting crazy now. Seems like we have a successful... If they are raiding me, that means it's quite a successful stream. Okay. You want to solve the reactivation of the worst offenders. Some of them are pretty nice, but others are quite bad, like High Blue. Adding a drop of this into 2 drops of High Blue makes for a pretty hard and resilient paint. So yeah, thank you Ben Soini for pointing that out. That's a good finding. I'm very happy with that. It's 2 parts contrast medium to 2 parts paint to 1 part contrast medium. That's what I did here, which is what I used for the demonstration. Yeah, please, if you can report the bot, I would really appreciate it. And yes, Ben is the hero. Ben found out the solution. So you need to add a good medium to the paint, and it doesn't reactivate anymore. At least it contains the reactivation quite a lot. You're going to lose in depth of color, but to be honest, not that much, a little bit. And you can do 2 layers without any issue. Let's just try do another layer of that on top and see if that creates any problems. No, nothing. You can do 2 layers nicely, and it will create a bit more depth of color, and it's not reactivating, even applying a new fresh coat of this mix that's been sitting in the palette and getting quite a bit of water in the process, and it's, yeah, perfectly fine, like contrast paint. Nice. So that is good. That is good. Yeah, it worked really well. I'm really happy. That means that if I want to use one of those nice colors, because they do have some nice hues in the range, I now know that if I mix contrast medium into them, they stay put and they don't misbehave, and they still apply really well. I mean, they just apply like contrast paints instead of speed paints. They are different feeling, but oh my god, the difference is massive in terms of reactivation, so that's good. Yeah, the reason, yeah, and Aspermi just nailed there in the chat. So the reason it doesn't reactivate with the contrast medium is because you're done in acrylic binder. Yes, the issue with this paint is they went so hard for them to be as smooth as possible over flat surfaces that they added too little binder, and that's my thought. So when it dries, the dye, especially the ones that have less resilient dyes, stays on the surface of the mini, but not binded to it. It's just like a thin layer of dye. So when you brush it over, it just falls off. It just wraps off. Adding the contrast medium provides enough binder to it that it creates a solid bond with the surface and it doesn't reactivate. Oh my god, I can't, it's just such a pain in the ass, this. It's just such a pain in the ass. Good question from Mauricio. Do you use all paint brands? Think all the brands have good and bad paint? Yes, I use all the brands. So I even use Army Painter. I use the shades, and I use the airbrush, which I think is one of the best airbrush ranges ever. Let me just zoom this out so we can have a little more relaxed chat now. The Fox Sexbot is also excited about having solved the speed paint issue. That's hilarious. Yes, the Sexbot is excited to have found the solution to the speed paint issue. To be honest, YouTube should pay you for not being able to get rid of that bot. Not great service there. I tried. I banned that user from the channel, but it keeps reappearing for some reason. I just don't know how they do it. Maybe it's a small change in the name that I can't tell, or whatever. It just keeps reappearing and reappearing. It's a pain in the fucking ass. Is the novice airbrush video still coming? Yes, I plan to do an airbrush video, but you have to bear with me. I have very little time. Okay, so yeah, this is freshly dry. Let's see if they reactivate. Oh, a little bit, tiny bit. So yeah, you will have to let this dry, like fully dry for some minutes. But it's much more resilient than the non-contrast medium version. So this is still drying. So this is not. It was a harsh test, but this still reactivates. Look at this solder pad. Solder pad. Look at that. It's still reactivating after what, an hour and 20 minutes. Look at that. Still coming off. And the test over the fully dry blue with the contrast paints, it was much better. So yeah, good results. Later we came out with a positive as add contrast medium into your speed paints if you don't want them to reactivate as badly or at all. Again, High-Low Blue is to me the test here because it's the most aggressively reactivating of all the speed paints. And yes, it was. Can we use an air pistol for fast dry? Then just get the crappiest of the hair dryers, a very bad one that has a low setting, and use the hair dryer in the lowest setting possible to get that done. And it will dry faster and it will create a bond faster. But yeah, that was fun. So this is the solution. Contrast medium is the solution to speed paints. I don't know what to tell you. It's not the best answer I could give you. But I'm not saying this solves the issue fully, but at least it solves it quite well. It still reactivates if you don't leave it to dry, so you will have some reactivation, like there. But I reckon if you leave this to dry for some minutes, it will hold on better. But be careful. So again, be careful here. This is just a test during a live stream, but it did make it better. This has been a very productive day. I really hope you enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on the instant color range? I think the color range, the hue selection is not very good, and I think they missed the point with most of the range by doing opaque pigments which create a pastel-y look. But if you're looking for a pastel-y looking contrast paints, I think they look good if you want that pastel-y look, but I think they missed the point with what they should be doing. I think it's a bit like defeating the purpose of speed paints, having to use other companies' product to make them viable. Yeah, I mean, they are viable, so just let me clarify that. If you just follow the instructions in the boxes, one layer and forget it, they do very well. They are very good paints. But if you want to do something more complicated on top of them, you are going to get into issues. No, Carl Thur, the quick shade medium. Oh, quick shade medium. That's a good question. The quick shade medium is different. Let me just grab it. Okay, this is the quick shade mixing medium. I've never used it, so it's pretty solid. I don't have any Vallejo medium, sorry. The only one I have is the glaze medium, and that makes the paint dry slower. So it's going to, if I put a drop into a drop of speed paint, it's not going to dry ever. It has quite a bit of retarder in it, and it's not going to work as well. Oh, come on, mix. Miguel Cruz, I've already answered that question, and if you want to see a full review of them, go to Stali, the Tale of Painters channel, and he has a full review, and I fully trust Stali to give us a good answer. The problem is it has like a sludge in the bottom. Let me just add an agitator here. I've never used it, so that's why it's so clumped up in the bottom, and I want this to give it a good solid try. Because yeah, I promise, it's the vortex mixer. You can choose to believe in me or not, but it's just a vortex mixer. Okay, let me see if we can get a drop of this. Had a okay, so that's one drop of quick shade was mixing medium, and we're going to do the same. This is 2 parts of a high Lord blue. Okay, there you go. That's the same proportions as I used on the other part of the model, and then going to apply it here on the chest. Why not? So this changes the filling again. It doesn't feel like the same. It's thicker. It still looks like it's going to apply well. So you're just going to leave this to dry. So far, the best application was with the contrast medium. And that includes like the fully speed paint. Okay, that's it. Let's just leave this to dry. Yeah, it seems like the bots are gone, so that's great. Mauricio says, someday you can paint with Angel. In fact, during the Horse Heresy event, we did some speed painting duel in the tables there with the minis provided and the pens provided. It was such a good fun. He even did a live Instagram thingy. It was really, really good fun. But yeah, the problem is he lives quite far away from me, so that's a big issue. And I think he now lives in the south of Spain, and I live in the very, very north of Spain. So that it's a lot of moving about to do a video. Sorry. Yeah, it seems like he got the bots got kicked, but they were definitely different bots. They looked the same in name, but they were different bots because I banned one, and he only banned like 3 or 4 messages, and I had to ban the other set of messages. So it's clearly more than one bot, but it seems like we have gotten rid of all the bots. Okay, so this is drying. It's going to take a while to dry, and it's giving a different effect. It's pulling the paint more into the recesses than into the surfaces. So it's turning it more into a wash instead into this is what this does. This is a wash medium. So it's turning. You can see the edges getting lighter and the paint pulling more into the recesses. So you have to account for that. Contrast medium just gave a very solid, nice looking effect. Nice. We'll have... This is just going to be the watching paint dry channel for a while. Why don't we talk about... Yeah, Scalper said it's a shade medium, so the quick shade may not be that good for speed paints, though. Yeah, may not be. So far this works really well, and again with the worst offender, which is highlight blue, and it made it quite resilient. Like, I would be happy with that. I mean, it's not as good as contrast paints, but it's good enough that I wouldn't mind. You'll probably have to do a couple layers of this or whatever. This was mixed again 2 parts to 1 part, but the more contrast medium you add, the stronger it's going to be. So you do a 1-to-1, you will probably have to do 2 or 3 layers, but it's going to be solid, and you can layer it on top. So that's a good thing, I guess. What's speed paint like for recess shading when compared to contrast washes? They behave well. The issue is, if you do an edge highlight near to that recess shade, it could bleed onto the edge highlight. So that could be potentially problematic. But they behave well. They are good flowing paints. But at that point, any ink is going to do that well. So I don't see the point. Okay, still drying. This is going to be slow. It's going to be slow. What I did try when I got them is mixing some varnish with them, and it just produced a weird mix where it just was impossible to control. So I don't recommend using washes. Using the varnish to mix in with your speed paints to make them solid. It just changed too much. So far, contrast medium is a winner. In terms of finish as well. If you want more of a washy kind of thing, you can mix quick shade. We will see how that works. But yeah, contrast medium so far is a winner here. So that's a good solution. It's not the solution that I wanted to find out today. I was hoping I could find an easy way to apply. Oh my god, an easy way to apply highlights. Look at that, the speed paint craziness. Oh, okay, that's good enough. Hopefully it doesn't turn my blue handle red. Trolasso says, what about mixing speed paint with a similar contrast paint? Speed paints are cheaper, so it may be a money saver. Yeah, that is going to work as well as a contrast medium, but at that point, just use contrast paints. I mean, contrast paints last for quite a while. I have bought pots of contrast paint that are here from the very beginning. I think the only ones I've bought again are Griff Charger Grey and Skeleton Horde, and yeah, those are the only ones that I've bought again because they were running out. So yeah, they do last quite a while. So if you see it as an investment over time, it just makes sense. Yeah, varnish on top with the brush you cannot do. I mean, just say this was a negative. You cannot do. But I tried it mixed with the speed paints when I got them, and the problem was that the application was messy. It just turned them into not good contrast paint. It just was blotchy and impossible to smooth out. So I don't recommend using varnish. You can't really use varnish. Okay, this is starting to dry. Let me just do a small test as I did here while it's still drying. So I can see some lift off there. So let's leave this to fully dry to give it a fair chance. Just Just feels like this is the most boring channel ever. It's just the watching paint dry channel. We still have more people than yesterday, and it's just watching paint dry, so that's nice. Welcome, all you 58 people watching the chat right now. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Thamos has a good idea. I'm going to make a quick video about a way of fixing contrast paints, speed paints using contrast medium, so they don't bleed out and they don't reactivate. So that's it's probably like a 5-6 minute video, and yeah, I will probably do that. Yeah, it's not going to be the best look for Army Painter, I'm afraid, because as I said, if you have to resort to another company's product to fix an issue with your product, that's not a good look. But it's just what it is. So we'll just have to accept it at that point. This is still drying, and I wanted to give it the first try possible, so it should work well. But you never know how much binder this thing has. So the people watch the paint dry. Yeah, that could be. No, I would just probably do some test batches like I did, like a little bit of plastic out, prime it, apply the paints, and test out different proportions to see how they behave. And yeah, I will probably do that to showcase that to people, and maybe use this as a test subject, more akin to what we're used to. Gio Blanco, how easy was it to move contrast medium to dropper bottles? As easy as contrast paints. It's just a liquid. It pours really well. I don't use a funnel. It's a waste of time. Just open the pot, cut the lid so it doesn't get in the way. Just tip it carefully, please, and it's super easy. I don't agree. All of them should be in dropper bottles. I don't use. This is my Gorgon affair. All my contrast paints are in droppers. They are just better. You control the dosage better. I can measure better. This is just one drop with one drop of medium, so I can give you precise measurements. One drop is not that much. You're not wasting anything. And you put it on your palette and just use it from there. Better use a funnel so it won't spill. If you're careful, it won't spill. Just I transfer the whole of the Citadel range, all of it, all of the colors. I have them all, and I never use a funnel. You don't need a funnel. There might be a couple of incidents along the way, but it's not that much. Yeah, Legit doesn't need a funnel if you're slow. If you're careful and you do it slowly, you don't need a funnel. You will waste time and paint with funnel. Just do it by hand. Okay, still drying. You can see it in the neck and stuff like that. I have shaky hands, so I use a funnel. Yeah, if you have shaky hands, of course, use a funnel. Personal circumstances are different for everyone, so yeah. Let's test this out. It's a bit more dry. So I see it. Yeah. A little bit of lift up there. Maybe the binder in the quick shade medium is not enough. I can pull the paint off. There you go. Let me just try again on the contrast side. And you can see I'm doing the same. And it doesn't move in the darkest part and the lightest part as well. Maybe a little bit, I can see a little bit of lift off, but it's way, way less. So maybe I will have to do some experimentation to see what's the better ratio of contrast medium to speed paint. That will be for the video, and see how that behaves. But yeah. Okay, good question. Yeah, Duncan. I love Duncan, but you don't need a funnel. Do you have a list of common colors? Asking Perk said 505. You have a list of colors to highlight certain contrast colors. I'm looking for a highlight Mantis Warriors greens and Plague Bearer green. No, I don't have a list, and I don't believe in making a list that this color is just for highlighting this color, because you can use several depending on the mood and the ambience you want to create with it. But for Mantis Warriors green, my recommendation is mix over pure white or over Wraithbone is mix mood green with dawn yellow. Those two together will provide a nice highlight color. Mantis mood green is too dark, dawn yellow is too light, but mix them together, beautiful. As for Plaguebearer flesh, I will move into something like Ushapti Bone or Screaming Skull mixed with one of the pale of the greens, like Nurgling green or something like that. I don't know. I probably on that sort of a spectrum. I will probably go for a bone color to highlight that, mixed with whatever green Plaguebearer flesh is similar to. It's not a color that I use too much, so that can be an issue. Oh yeah, we have Steph and Neil logging from Vancouver, Canada to watch paint dry with you. That's awesome, thank you very much. And the Space Marine says, Miniatures, I'm trying to paint a kill team from the Mentors Legion. Problem, there is a lot of white and white sucks. Can you recommend a good white paint that isn't too thick? The problem is you don't want to paint it white, you want to paint it off-white. So my recommendation is just prime with, I would say prime with Corax white, but that's no longer an option. And it's painful because it was my favorite primer, but prime with something like, I would probably do a prime them. I still have Corax white, so I would use Corax white, but if you can't, just prime with a new white and start from that. Just shade down instead of trying to paint white up. And for the final highlights of pure white, just use a white ink or something like that, like Dollar Rowney FW white ink, or the Liquitex white ink, or something like, if you can find Chimera white, or if you can't find Chimera white, and listen, all whites are a pain in the fucking ass. So no matter how good a white is, it's going to be the worst color you will use. So I've heard good things about the Pro Acrylic white for highlighting, so that's worth try if you are in the US and you can get it easily. But yeah, all whites are a pain in the ass. It's for Ox and Gretchen, yeah, so try those. That was for the greens that he was asking. Yeah, it always has to be blue, doesn't it? Okay, this is fully dry now. It's not going to get in any drier than this. Let's see if it holds up. So I can see it's better than the normal one. But I can also feel it. No, I don't think so. Maybe a little bit. So yeah, quick shade mix in medium also works. Obviously, it needs to cure. So if you leave it for a couple hours, it's going to be more solid, because all paint needs to dry and then cure. And for this, again, contrast medium. This is 2 layers, by the way. I did 1 layer on top of the other, and it's as good as it gets. So, winner, contrast medium. Quick shade mixing medium. Surprisingly, not bad. It's going to give you a more washy effect than this. This is going to tint the surface more. This is going to pull the paint more into the recesses, but it's not bad. If you have this and you don't mind that look, it's not bad. Not bad at all. That was a good stream, I think. 2 hours, not bad. I don't have anything else to do, so I will be here chatting with you. I put my arm here so you can see I'm here, and I will get a more relaxed pose to do this, a more relaxed stance, so we can have a chat here. Gio Blanco says pure white with he's talking about the what's the Lamentors, or what was it? A Mentos Legion. So yeah, pure white with some kind of off-white, one of the with Soul Bright Grey. It's going to be a perfect base for a white, and just do some highlights with titanium white, and you're done. The issue people have is they try to base coat with white with a brush. Forget that is not a good thing. Just take the new pure white spray, and yeah. And Kathu says Tanahol also used the speed paint medium to water down the normal paints, and it didn't remove the paints below it. It did for me. So I don't know what to tell you. I've done that test. I've mixed Fenrisian grey with the contrast medium and tried to apply it, and it was lifting the paint off. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to say that Dana Howell made she's lying to you or anything, but it did with me. I've done enough tests already. Okay. Let me just say this. I am done with this. Okay, I'm done with this. I've tried as much as anyone is going to try. I really wanted to give this a try, and I really wanted to give this a good opportunity and use them. And the best solution is mixing contrast medium, which whatever you want to think about that. The other things just doesn't work. I've tried it with no water. I've tried everything and it doesn't work. Oh, Vallejo has a must-have, says Thamo, which is deck tan. Deck tan is amazing color. Use it as a base for deck tan, fantastic off-white color. Gio Blanco, what is the best speed paint color in your opinion? Good question. I really love the orange. So the orange is good. We're talking about the speed paints, about these things. I did like when I did my test. I remember Cold Burst Blue was good. Fire Giant Orange was good. And the purple was good. The one that was brighter purple than the ones of the contrast paints. But since contrast paints have released the new extra range with the amazing purples and the amazing orange, I think this just falls a bit short. But yeah, the orange is good and the purple is good, and the Cold Burst Blue was quite good in my opinion. There's a lot of different factors that change how paint reacts, says Pelser, the polychromatic. Different people get different results. Also, the good point, the primer makes a difference. That was tested by the army painter people. The primer makes a difference. So different primers have different properties of attracting paint on pigments on top. And it seems that their primers make for a better substrate to the speed paint. It seems. I don't have any army painter primers. I hate them. But if you like them and you have them, try it. Ben Sony, I will laugh if Army Painter comes out with a contrast medium now that I can call it a setting medium. I don't know, man. I mean, it was fun testing this out, and I will make a video so more people know that works, and you don't have to do any weird mixes with your normal paints, so you change the properties and anything like that. But yeah, this works. And I will test several different mixes, starting from this one, because it was reactivating a little bit. So I will do different mixes with different times for drying, like recently dry, half an hour, and a day, 24 hours. That's more than anyone should wait for paint to dry, 24 hours. So I will do like 3 bands and just try a selection of the speed paints. I'm not going to try all of them, but the worst offenders, so the blood red, blind or blue, those kinds of things, and see how they react. Probably. Gio Blanca, use both GW and speed paint, especially for red. I use the new opaque red from GW for the highlights. Reactivation is actually good as smooth the highlights. Yeah, that makes sense. Just makes sense. I tried to use it, but I know it can be used because Keith Burden, as I said before, used it with very good results. But to me, it's just too finicky. It's just too problematic to be worth it. Let me grab a drink. My throat is getting a bit sore, so I will be back in a minute. Don't go away. I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to grab a cold drink. Okay, I just grab a fizzy drink and I just a little bit of ASMR for you all. Oh, Mark Jarvis is here. I just went to grab a drink. My throat was getting a bit sore. So if you want to ask more questions, this is basically all the testing done. don't pour some speed conscious paint in your drink. I don't plan to. So much better. Oh, I also grabbed me something to eat. A nice donut. Or thinners, yeah. So I'm going to let's just talk about a little bit about the future of videos on the channel while I tidy up everything here a little bit, and you can ask some questions if you want. So probably next week I will have a video about everything that we talk about here, especially the Ben Sony solution about adding a contrast medium into your speed paints to make them hold better. That was a super clever solution. So that's also an easy to make video that I can do in a day, and just forget about it, edit it in half an hour and move on. Let's put this so we can have a bit more room here. A lot of channels are today up like Penicillin Discovery. Yeah, it was really good. I was really happy. I'm going to strip. Oh no, the bots are attacking again. It's just, oh my god. Oh my god. The bots are here again. Dear, not again, please. Yeah, it was a good discovery. I'm really happy about that. Gio Blanco, a lot of channels show contrast over metallics such as lead belcher, but I haven't seen results over gold. I've done it over gold. Go watch. It's a video that no one watched. It has like 1,000 views. It's the one of the Christmas specials where I painted the steampunk dwarf in Santa Claus colors. So go and watch it. I do red over gold. It's really good. It's really, really, really good. But again, for some reason, no one watched that video. It's one of those videos that no one watches, and you are there just thinking, what the hell happened, and why is no one watching my video? So this is where we are at now. This big guy here, I'm going to paint during live streams. So just as I'm here now, I'm going to base coat it. I'm going to prime it and base coat it with the airbrush, all the metallics and all the colors. And I'm going to paint that big guy during live streams. It's going to be a lot of dry brushing, a lot of oils, a lot of nice tricks, and it's going to be a quick paint job, I hope. So I can, make something, maybe sell it after I'm done to a new owner and get some money for me and my family. So and also have fun in the process, which I never paint big models, and I want to experiment with oils and all that good stuff, and enamels and that kind of stuff. And in the meantime, my family has left. They are going to see to take the baby to other part of the family. My wife and my Tuki just went away, so I'm all alone, and I have nothing better to do than sit down here and talk to you. So ask questions, and I'm here to answer them. Team Calderhead says, what airbrush do you have? I have the Wata Eclipse. Oh, this is the I don't want this showing on the camera. There you go. That's my mic. That's my Rode mic. I just want it no closer to my face, a little bit. And Dennis says, hi Juan and everyone else. I have an idea for your Firehawks. What do you think of metallic burn tangerine for the orange? No, I'm going to do like solid orange and a bit lighter than what's probably the right hue, but I've seen Firehawks painted with very bright orange, and I like that kind of second edition look. So I'm going to paint them bright orange. Yeah, it's not a bad idea for a nice color, but I'm going to do them in the normal way. As I said, they are already started. I have 2 projects I started that are halfway recording. One is the Firehawk, which you can see here. The other is an ultramarine, following the Infernal Brush video and instructions, and trying to make it as good as possible. The edge highlights here are a bit insane. So this a bit more light. There you go. You can probably see it there. Whatever. I hope you can see that. It's pretty nice. I'm really happy with it. And it's for the next installment of Copying the Masters. So that's. But again, I have a lot of projects going on, and none of them finish. Yes, wife is away, just for maybe half an hour more or so. It just it just went away about halfway during the stream. You better delete your cookies. Well, if she sees all these dating bots, that's probably not a good idea. Who's the next master after Infernal Brush? Well, I'm thinking on doing Craft Wall Studio, because they are extremely different from anyone else, and I love their style, and I think it has potential to be a fantastic video. Oh, another. Yeah, I've answered that question previously, Gio. No, I haven't. No, I won't, because I don't want to promote anything that company makes, because I don't like it. I have bought products from them previously, so that might be a bit hypocritical for me to say this. But I don't like the company, so I'm not going to review their products, even if they send and if they offer to send them to me, I will say no. Just because I don't feel comfortable. But if you want to see a review from a person that I trust entirely, go and check Stali from the Tale of Painters channel. Stali Tale of Painters channel. I'm sure if you look for Tale of Painters on YouTube, you will get his channel. He has a full review of the different inks there. So, and I trust him. He's as trustworthy as anyone can be, and one of the nicest persons you can ever meet. I've seen it already. Yeah, that's as good as a review as I can give you. But as I said, there's going to be a big announcement on that kind of department soon. The problem is I can't really talk about that because I can't. Because I may get into big troubles. So, yeah. Just wait a little bit, please. Yeah, Bridge Studios Living, yeah. Talking about that, talking about tomorrow, I won't be here tomorrow at 5 o'clock because we had some family issues, sadly, sad family issues that I have to attend. So I won't be here today afternoon, but I will do a live stream tomorrow. So it's probably going to be during the night. So about 10 p.m. Europe time, Spain time. Around that time, I will do like a quick 1 hour, 1 hour and a half live stream of some sort. Yeah. Well, it's just life. It's just why that's what I'm going to say. I don't want to talk too much about that issue. It's just what it is. It's just life getting in the way. It just sucks from time to time. But yeah, I will be here tomorrow at night. It won't be at 5 o'clock because we will be dealing with that. But once all of that is done, I will be here during the night after I have some dinner. So about 10 o'clock, I will do a quick 1 hour and something live stream. I don't know what I will be doing, but maybe painting something cool. Let me just see what I have here on my to-do project list. So I want to finish this guy. This is Plague Knight from my Shovel Knight collection, shovel cast collection. So I might paint the NMM on the leg and stuff like that. This is going to be gold and black metal. Seems like a cool thing to start, just laying some colors, doing some highlights, blending a little bit. That sounds like a fun thing to do. So I might do this on the live stream tomorrow night. It's not going to be long because otherwise it gets too long for me to enjoy. But yeah, that's going to be it. Yeah, the idea for the live streams is I can paint quite. I can do a live stream is pretty easy because I can spare 3 hours in a day easily. The issue with the full tutorials is they take so much time, and right now I'm not sure I have the time that I need. So I just prefer to do something like this, so I can put something out, interact, have some fun, and when and slowly grinding away on the bigger videos. Oh no, the bots are here again. Damn. Dude. So persistent. Yeah, it's super easy to paint a model in the live stream. So I will be painting this. I also have another model there that I have to finish, which is my only ever commission that I accepted. It's still not painted, so I have to finish that. So I will be, between the night and stuff like that, I will be probably live streaming more than making videos. But right now is the stuff that I can put out without any issues, or without consuming too much of my time. Dio Blanco asking, do you actually play with the minis you paint, or are you just enjoying the painting side of it? Well, I play Dead Zone and Kings of War, but everything that you see me paint on the channel, or almost everything, is sold, or I try to sell it as quick as possible. As for playing I mean, I like the Games Workshop minis. They're the best minis in the world. I just think that their rules are not as good as the minis. Let me just say that. I don't want to be rude, because they send me a lot of free stuff, including this guy here. But I mean, I really, right now, I really don't have to pay for minis anymore. I just have, they have boxes of free stuff that they send me. It's just all around me, and so yeah, I don't have to pay for minis anymore. So I'm really grateful, but I just don't like the rules as much. But I do like painting them, so that's something. And if you don't mind, I'm going to grab a bite of my what we call merienda in Spain, which is a meal we have in between our lunch and our supper. So I'm going to eat something now because I'm starving. So good. Fan was asking, you should try the indie rule sets. I don't really care. I like to have a company behind the games that I play, for several reasons. But I do like it. And also, between Dead Zone and Kings of War, I have everything, all my gaming desires covered. Yeah, it's about eating and drinking content. Yeah, I'm. If you want to know, I'm drinking a Fanta, and I'm eating a chocolate donut. So that's pretty. It's pretty good too. Watching paint dry make you hungry. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty hungry right now, because we will probably have dinner about 9 to 10. The kid goes to bed at 9, so, and he has dinner at 8. So we'll probably have dinner about 10:30 or so with my wife once the kid is asleep. So yeah, I need to eat something, or I will just fall from a starvation. Yeah, I do prefer Fanta, but Cacao Light is also nice. I just prefer the taste of artificial coloring. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was better. So yeah, I think it feels like a bit sad, but I think we're going to end the live stream here, since it seems like it's we've found the reactivated speed veins. Probably yes. It's got a lot of water. But yeah, I don't see any more serious questions about anything. It was quite a good fun hanging out with you. So I think I will stop for today and see you tomorrow. Again tomorrow at night. So whatever time it is in your country now, 3 hours from that tomorrow, I will be there chatting with you. Yeah. Thank you very much, people. Everyone is saying goodbye. I love you all. See you tomorrow. It's been amazing. Thank you very much.